Can a tiger change its stripes in a typhoon? Taiwan was one of the 4 original Asian tigers, the earliest adopters of globalization enabled by the post-World War paradigm of American peace, ascendant neoliberalism, and rapid technological progress. By facilitating the transfer of both capital and know-how to less developed economies, globalization led to the most rapid economic development and convergence in history. As first movers, the Asian tigers benefited the most, climbing the skills and income ladder to join the world's richest, most technologically advanced economies. Taiwan, to some extent, has even bettered its tiger peers, Hong Kong, Singapore, and South Korea, by specializing in the design and production of many of the world's most sophisticated semiconductors, which are now indispensable inputs into the modern global economy. But the peace, stability, and neoliberal economics that allowed both globalization and Taiwan to flourish has rapidly disintegrated amid increasing challenges to US hegemony and relentless advances in technology. Taiwan must now adapt to a radically different economic environment and must do so as an intensifying great powers tempest swirls around it. To continue to prosper, the tiger must change its stripes amid a typhoon, or in the words of my subtitle, the globalization champ must evolve to meet the challenges of a new world order. Taiwan is fortunate that as one of the original Asian tigers, it was able to climb globalization's skills and capital ladder before localization removed it. Today is a rich, dynamic economy that is a world leader in the design and production of the most sophisticated microchips with a skilled workforce that easily facilitates participation in localization. But Taiwan faces 2 serious demand problems, one internal and one external. Taiwan's internal demand problem is its continued reliance on the East Asian tiger model of growth originated by Japan, suppressing domestic consumption in pursuit of capital accumulation, and as a small open economy leveraging foreign demand for growth. This model no longer works in a world of localization, where automated capital produces for local, domestic consumption. Liberalization of domestic financial and labor markets is needed to promote greater consumption growth in Taiwan. Taiwan's external problem, alluded to earlier, is that its leadership position in sophisticated semiconductors is both a blessing and a curse. The economies of scale necessary for semiconductor production remove competitive risks from localization and create a wide defensive moat. Unfortunately, semiconductors' centrality to national security creates a strong incentive for other countries to bridge that moat, and they will amid worsening global entropy. This political reality means that Taiwan's semiconductor producers will have to pursue a second-best strategy and gain comfort with licensing or globalizing their production to the US, Europe, and perhaps other economies. Complicating Taiwan's transition to the new paradigm of localization is the necessity to carefully manage global entropy's bifurcation. The US, Europe, Japan, and Australia, an increasingly important regional player, are likely to look unfavorably on Taiwanese technology licensing or outsourced production if it includes political rivals like China and Russia. Yet China may see bifurcated licensing that favors the West as provocative and invite unwanted confrontation, especially as it pursues its Made in China 2025 policy. Despite this complication, I see no choice. Taiwan, if it wants to maintain its political and economic autonomy, will have to choose the West for licensing and attempt to placate China with unconstrained supply produced in Taiwan. This may also provide for a disincentive for China to pursue forced reunification that threatens its semiconductor supply. Finally, Taiwan will have to deal with the challenges presented to all economies by rising real interest rates stemming from redundant localization capex across economies, especially the US. But it faces unique challenges due to its neighbors and its unusually concentrated in international investment portfolio. As noted earlier, Japan's debt is precariously exposed to Japanese residents' faith in their own government's liabilities at a time when the Bank of Japan is being forced to extricate itself from its experimental policy of yield curve control, or YCC, amid the largest rise in global real interest rates in decades. This represents a low probability, high impact risk to global financial markets and the global economy. Taiwan's life insurers are notorious, and I am not using that word loosely, for selling interest rate volatility to investors around the globe. That means that if Japanese interest rates move sharply, Taiwanese life insurers are exposed to potentially existential losses from their short volatility positions. Aside from Japan, there is possibly no other economy that is more exposed to Japanese fixed income volatility than Taiwan. While a full-blown debt crisis in Japan remains a very low probability, even a hiccup in Japan's YCC exit, which likely is coming in July, could precipitate devastating losses for Taiwan's volatility sellers. Unfortunately, the size of Taiwanese volatility selling and the relative illiquidity of volatility markets leave little room for mitigation before YCC exit likely begins. Hence, my only advice is to stop selling volatility, build liquidity buffers, and hope for the best. As I would like to end on a high note, let me remind everyone that Taiwan has faced serious challenges in its past and triumphed. Most notably, it has risen to the heights of global wealth and technological prowess from an impoverished, isolated province of Imperial China that had been colonized by Japan and was liberated by America just 78 years ago. I have every faith that Taiwan will manage its current challenges, and I look forward to the next magnificent chapter in its history. Thank you.